and Investment Committee to order. And the first item on our agenda is to approve minutes of our May 8th meeting.
So moved.
Commissioner Jordan,
Second.
thank you. Seconded by Commissioner Salmon. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We will continue our work session on the proposed 2014-2015 budget. And for those of you who are on the agenda tonight, this is the procedure we will follow. I will call the department head and ask you to join us at the table. The mayor will give his recommendation, and then I will give you an opportunity to speak to the details of your budget. And then members of the committee, question and discussion time for us. And as we did in our previous meeting, we will do voice votes unless I hear otherwise from you. Gentlemen, you will remember that we started a tabulation sheet from last meeting that you can use. And then in the folder, we have a new tabulation sheet for the other various funds that we will cover later, but you don't need to even get to that at this point. The first one that we will use that sheet for will be the ambulance service later in the meeting. Okay, we are ready to start. Mrs. Bowling, Circuit Court. And gentlemen, if you will use the slide bar, we need to be on page 38. Page 38, use the slide bar. And Mayor Burgess, your recommendation, please.
Okay, the recommendation for Circuit Court is $520,300. You'll notice that that is a substantial reduction in that. In particular, line item 709, that data processing equipment line item was $227,500. We purchased substantially most of that equipment, so that's reducing to $95,300. That's the primary reduction in one of the couple of primary reductions in this budget. The other one, 317 data processing services, $175,000 current year. That's being reduced to $128,000. We're reducing the contractual arrangements we have with the current provider of software, I suppose. Is that it?
Correct,
Largely?
yes. I actually do have some corrections that
Okay.
came in today, so.
All right, in any event, and we reduced jury and witness expense $10,000, so the recommendation is $520,300, which is a couple of $100,000 less.
And the corrections that I have are actually even less than that. In that 709 line item, there was a $95,300 spend. That has been actually picked up by OIT.
Oh, good.
So that is going away. However, I've had it's 709.
709.
So
okay,
make that
let's make
zero.
sure.
Yes. No, we're not making it zero. Hey, don't put words in my mouth. I actually talked with several of the judges, and we're going to pull in the judge part of the project into our go live before I leave office. So we need to spend about $20,000. It's $20,843 on equipment for the judges' equipment for their access into our system, because we're getting them new computers to be able to access the system. So that item goes from $95,300 to $20,843.
About 20,900.
Fabulous.
Okay.
Okay. Then also on line item 317, that's going from $128,000 to $146,000 to accommodate the licenses that are needed for the judges to access the system.
146,000.
Correct. So it's a net reduction of $57,000.
So the new number, make sure we're finding.
Well, mine was exact. You rounded up,
Okay,
but
so you went-
463,843. So 463,900, and that's 56% less than last year.
So, okay. So you went up 18,000 and down 74,400.
Correct.
approve.
Thank you,
Second.
Commissioner Jordan, seconded by Commissioner P. So we have a new total of $463,900. Any further discussion?
Kinda nice-
Commissioner
kinda-
Schaefer. Oh, excuse me, I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
I was gonna say, it's kinda nice to see that occasionally we get caught up on our equipment purchases and stuff isn't perpetual.
Thank you, Commissioner Bob.
And-
Commissioner Schaefer?
Well, I was just gonna ask on the equipment, the big item we bought was in 12-13, but didn't it carry over into 13-14?
It did, but OIT is picking up
Picking
that.
Okay.
It was the SQL license
Okay.
for the software, but OIT is
Okay.
picking that line item up.
And the salary increases that you give are gonna easily be covered by your
Absolutely,
fees?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right, thank you.
We'll have to revisit OIT's budget to reflect that money.
No, it's already in
This
there,
year,
that's,
but- oh,
it's already been
Okay, it
approved.
was in
A lot of those
twice, but-
increases.
Yes, it was already approved, so,
I was just afraid you were going to tell us that Brian was going to be up there.
no, 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 no. No.
Any further discussion relative to the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Snyder? Gentlemen, we need to be on page 42. This is the budget for drug court. Good evening, Mary.
Hi, how are y'all?
Mayor Burgess, your recommendation,
Okay,
please.
well, the recommendation is
42.
$488,237, and I don't have any line item highlighted. It's a continuation budget, pretty much.
Pretty much.
And it's, nothing of any consequences changed in that particular budget.
I think any increases are due to the salary increases and
Yeah,
I
benefits.
didn't know 42. Am I familiar? 40. I need to be looking up there at the other 42.
Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong
Yeah.
42 also.
I retrain us every few days. Yeah, I heard
42 on the
on there.
left, 38 on the right.
Yeah, I was in juvenile court. I think this isn't.
Is all of this county money, or is part of this
No.
grant money out?
It's all grant money except for about
$30,000.
$30,000.
Grant
Well,
money
that's-
and money coming from the courts.
Which, I want to point that out.
Thank you.
Because a lot of people think, hey, we're spending that, and actually, the grants are taking care of most of this.
And fees.
Court fees, et cetera.
And program fees.
And wasn't it a little more county money last year than it is?
It was about 30,000 as well, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta be the number.
Well,
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second it.
Okay, Commissioner Schaefer, seconded by Commissioner Lee.
tell me that number again before I get it so big and so far away.
463,900.
No.
No, wait a minute.
488.
488.
You're back on.
237.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was still on circuit court. 488,237.
It is pretty close, though.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
488,237.
Okay, are we all together now? Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Okay, the
Contract,
grant.
we have time to take care of that later.
Okay, okay, thank you. That's it, thank you very
Thank
much, I
you.
appreciate it.
Now, let's do a little backing up, and let's make sure we're on page 39. And we're ready for Circuit Court Judge, and Judge Rogers is joining us. Good evening. Mayor Burgess, your recommendation, please?
The recommendation is $275,049, and there is actually, again, on this budget, I haven't made note of anything of any consequence to change. It is a true continuation budget.
Judge Rogers?
We're doing well,
Comments?
all of us. Appreciate everything you do for us. I don't think I could say it any better than the mayor has already spoken.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Jernigan, thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Baum. Discussion?
What was your total again?
275,049.
$3,000.
About $3,000 more.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. You all have a good evening.
Gentlemen, page 40. General Sessions, and Judge Lowry is joining us. along
Miss
with
Warren.
Ms. Watkins.
Oh.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, y'all flip a coin to see who has to come up here and do that? Actually, she's the one that did all the work, you know?
I'm here for moral support, Will.
Mayor Burgess.
Okay, our recommendation is $1,464,595. And you'll notice there are really two or three line items we'll point out. First, in part-time personnel, we are suggesting that we increase that from 40,100 to 55,900. That's going to give them some flexibility and a judicial commissioner to be used, I think, at the juvenile court situation, potentially, if they need that money.
And
then-
for their office.
That, for their office, yeah. And the employee insurance, again, is up, like it is in any number of our departments, $7,000, but, and there's no office equipment. You might wanna tell me, you asked for $6,093 and we have nothing down there, I don't remember.
But we found it
We
in
did find it
other
somewhere else
accounts,
later.
yes.
So we didn't.
So we took care of that.
You took care of that?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, just those 2 points and of increase there and about $30,000 in total.
Judge Lowry or Ms. Watkins, any comments?
I don't have anything, Judge Lowry.
No, I've been talking to the mayor.
So they did request some things that I didn't recommend, but anyway, we'll work on that as time goes forward later.
What uniforms? There's a line item down there for uniforms. It's got
The-
money here, it wasn't spent.
That-
Yeah,
Okay.
we have court officers, and they wear like a gray full flannel pants and thing. We always had a little small line item item for them to buy those from. I don't think they bought them.
Not this
Well-
year so far, they haven't.
No. That's what it is. It's court officers. We have 2. We're-
Actually, 3, with Judge Brandon's court officer too.
Okay.
And she just requested hers today, so.
Oh, she did?
It'll be spent,
Okay,
yeah.
that's Lisa.
Gentlemen, any further discussion? Okay, we do need a motion.
Motion to approve. Second, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Jernigan, seconded by Commissioner Salmon. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Gentlemen, page 46, juvenile court, Judge Davenport. Thought I saw her.
Good evening.
Good evening. Mayor Burgess.
Okay, the recommendation here is $512,591. You'll notice that's about $300 more, big increase here. We did agree to recommend a bit of an increase on other contracted services, from which this year is currently $45,000. So we're suggesting $50,000, $5,000 increase. The rest of the budget is really, there's nothing there that any of us have much control over, so there is a bit of an decrease apparently in her health insurance, which is unusual because changes within her makeup of her employees.
I'll make a motion to approve, assuming that she's happy with that, and I think I forgot to ask.
Absolutely, I'm happy with that.
We have a motion from Commissioner Pease, seconded by Commissioner Sandlin. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank y'all very much.
District Attorney, Mr. Whitesell, good evening and
Good evening.
welcome. Gentlemen, we need to be on page 48. Mayor Burgess.
Okay, the recommendation is $86,598, which is a slight decrease in that we do have a little increase again with our insurance, but the data processing services, that's a decrease from 4315 to nothing. I guess has to do with this
The
business
changeover.
about the changeover to the new system of software. So actually you have a net decrease of a couple of $1,000s here.
Any comments to any details of the budget?
Pretty tight, so moved, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Sandlin, thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Schaefer.
And will there be any change in the DA's pay since we've got somebody retiring.
We don't pay them.
No,
it's
he's,
state.
he's a state employee.
Well, I've seen assistant numbers.
The
and I
only
thought,
person
where's
we
his
have there
hire
is,
then? So-
Ms. Cullum.
Ms. Cullum right down there with us. She's on our standard salaries.
Feel free to come back next year and hang out at your
Well,
You're gonna miss this.
I'd like to,
opportunity.
if I could have about 30 seconds after the vote, Madam Chairman.
After the vote.
Right.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Commissioner Ely, I think you're retiring also, if I understand, and I want to thank you for your service to the county. But for this whole body, I've had the privilege of coming, I think, about 10 years now. I've always been treated with the utmost respect. I appreciate the job that you do, and I appreciate the help that you've given me over the years. Jennings Jones, who is seated on the back row, will be will be the district attorney, and the bulk of this budget will fall to him. But again, I want to say I appreciate the commission for working with me. The only disagreement we ever had was when I was asked to leave the judicial building, and I want all of you to know it's the best favor you ever did for me. So,
Well, thank you
So
very
thank
much for
you.
your service.
Thank you
Best
for your
wishes to
service.
you.
enjoy life.
Gentlemen, page 49, Office of Public Defender, Mr. Melton.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, and Mayor Burgess, your recommendation, please.
Okay, $68,130, that's up a little less than $2,000, even though we've had a bit of an increase on insurance again. But those last three line items, we don't have anything in there. They didn't ask for travel, other supplies, or other charges this year, so we're up about $1,500 to $1,600 with this.
And this is the one that maintained, it has to be at least 75% of the one before.
Right. So they've been very respectful of their request.
And that's something I want to thank you for. I know it could be a lot different from what it is, but we appreciate that, and the citizens here do too. Having said that, are you happy with this?
I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. We've been able to do well, and I appreciate this committee.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the
Commissioner
mayor's
B, thank you,
recommendation.
and seconded by Commissioner Schaefer. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, page 50, Youth Services. Ms. Bigby? Good evening.
Good evening.
Mayor Burgess, your recommendation, please?
Okay, the recommendation, we have a whopping $107 decrease in this request this time, $923,219. And really, again, as some of the others, this is pretty much a continuation of the budget. We got a slight increase in data processing services, and I forgot even what that was, Ms. Bigby, but it was not much increase to the rest of it. With the exception of office equipment, she's not asking for anything this year, so we just have the same amount of money net.
The data processing services was the ability for her to get onto LINS with
Oh.
the new system. The new system in the, what do you call it? Judicial commission warrants.
The warrants.
Petitions.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so I forgot, yeah, that's to help them with that process.
Any comments?
No, ma'am,
from
I
you?
agree with
Okay,
his
thank you.
recommendation.
And just point out that a big piece, half of her budget is just sort of pass-through money on that contract with private agencies. We have the contract, and we give it over to somebody else to execute, so it's only $460,000 of county money.
Move to approve. Second.
Commissioner Jernigan, thank you. Seconded by Commissioner Schaefer. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank
Thank you. Page 52, gentlemen, Domestic Violence or Victim Assistance Program. Ms. Tillage?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. Mayor Burgess?
Okay, The recommendation is $173,106. It's just a few dollars up, and that's just really basically for the salaries, normal increases, et cetera. And so it's $3,000 net total increase. And a point that we'll make that she is self-funded by fees that are recovered through the court process.
She is a county employee.
Oh, yes, all of her, she and her staff are county employees.
Well, how come there's nothing in longevity then?
Because we have not, worked within the county long enough to be paid longevity.
3 years.
So there's nothing
No.
on that line.
3 years as of June 30th is the magic number.
Right. So I think next year, we'll have something on that line.
You get that whole $25. Give you something to work for.
That's right.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Jordan, thank you.
Second motion.
Seconded by Commissioner Sanders. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, page 57, and this is the traffic control portion of the budget for the 4 traffic lights that we maintain.
Motion to approve.
And really, that's what, $20,000? $20,000. Commissioner Jordan, seconded by Commissioner P. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Solandi. Could he be perhaps waiting outside?
Party
Gentlemen,
going on out there.
if we can go ahead and be finding page 62, Correctional Work Center. And if he's not here right now, we'll move on and give him a chance to come in later perhaps.
Okay.
He's not there, I'll call him if you want to go.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Let's go back to page 65, and we'll ask Ms. Duke to join us, juvenile detention. Good evening.
Good evening.
Page
What'd you
65.
do with Mr. Solandi to move up?
She'll never
I
say.
can't tell.
What is that number? Let's see, real,
Mayor Burgess, yes, if you'll find page 65.
I've got it now. Okay. The recommended amount is $2,390,000, and that's a $59,000 decrease here. Now, Ms. Duke may help us a little bit here, but you'll see some changes up there. For example, 164 attendance, that's down a little bit, and maybe go ahead and tell them without me trying to remember what that was.
Well,
Ms.
I
Duke.
think we are giving up 1 full-time position, and we've had some just general employee changes with people that are leaving employment and changing, and it's their steps and grades have been different.
So you can see that all of that sort of has had a net reduction in the total cost of what we're projecting. Overtime pay, she's reduced that $10,000. And I don't know where the other position was.
Part-time's
actually-
up a little bit, that's fine.
Part-time is, yes, but we've done that.
We had that full-time position that I gave up, I turned into 2 part-time positions, so that saved a little on benefits.
And other salaries and wages is, that's substantially reduced there. That may be where one of your full-time positions was that we've given up there, I'm not sure.
Yes. That's where it
From
was.
58,000 down to 16,000, so. Other contracted services is up just a bit from 51.3 up to 67,000. And that was that medical services or?
That
399?
is, we are adding, the mandated PREA audit is coming out of that line item, and that's a $6,000, cost on that audit, and it's federally required.
And there's nothing in the other equipment request line, 790, this particular year.
You okay with the mayor's recommendation?
Yes, I am.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Jordan, thank you. Seconded by Commissioner P. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, page 68, the Rural Fire Protection, County Fire and Rescue. Mr. Farley, good evening.
Good evening.
You needed to do a correction on a number, did you not? Or,
Yes, I guess, don't speak more to it, but if you go ahead and go to page 70. The mayor's recommending that we not do the 45,000 for the Laverne Rescue Squad, which would bring that total to $330,000. But add 30,000 to line item 599, other charges.
599,
599.
okay.
That brings the total to $1,899,886.
Why Laverne Rescue Squad?
I'll tell you that one. The city of Laverne is taking over all of their service area and all their responsibilities.
Be a new fire department.
The city took over the fire service, they went public,
We knew that.
they're going
but
through
I don't
shifts,
know.
and they're taking over education July 1. And Laverne only responds in the city.
So what is the other charges on 599, 20,000? You want to add back to that? Is that what you said?
30,000.
30,000. What that is this, we have, now already started, we have a full 24/7 shift to cover, response, fire response. What we wanna do, and then we have to fill in some blank spots from time to time. And we're gonna do that with volunteers. This is an incentive for volunteers to participate and, more actively, so that we can be assured that we've got good, competent, trained people ready to go. So every 6 months, we're gonna take half of that $30,000 and distribute it appropriately based on those people that have actually participated and served and got training and certification to be better equipped to do the job.
Mayor, is that across all the volunteer fire departments?
That's just with this department here is all we're projecting.
What that would
Now,
do.
if any of those people are part of us, just they'll actually get the money.
So, I think they are part of Rutherford's fire department throughout the county.
What that does is we have 12 firefighters, and they get vacation and sick time, and they also get Kelly days. What this would do will allow us to backfill those pay positions with volunteers, and they'll get so many points for staffing. And at the end of that 6 months, we'll add up their points, all their points, divide them into 15,000. That tells us what each point's worth, and then they'll receive a check for that. And that's just for training and for showing up and covering those shifts. So that keeps us from having to pay part-time people or hire extra people to come in and staff where they can take their vacation and sick time.
And they could be from any department across the county to come in and fill in those positions.
Well, it's just basically fire department, but I mean, if we had qualified people who have the training of the
They can
methods.
live anywhere or be anywhere, as long as they're volunteers with
Back to the
us.
rescue side of it, Laverne Rescue Squad did not work just confined to the city limits of Laverne.
They just worked inside the city
They
limits.
they never went out into the rural areas at all.
They
There's
did in
some
the
little-
past.
There's some
That's what I was
little
thinking they did in the
spots
past.
out there, and I don't want
They
to
went
be
on the
a-
interstate, but I guess, that's still both sides of 24 or the city.
Well, all the response area that, what little bit of part they did work in the county, Amble Fire and Rescue's covering it now.
So you're comfortable with, we're not leaving anybody out
Yeah.
anywhere that was maybe just outside the city limits?
I've worked real close with Chief McCormick and Assistant Chief Chris Clark, and they're gonna take over the whole operation inside the city. And what that little parts out in the county out there between Laverne and Smyrna, the Amble's covering that.
Didn't want to leave anybody out in the cold.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Jordan,
I'll second it, but I have a question.
seconded by Commissioner Baum. Commissioner Baum has a question.
Could we talk a little bit about line 718 about the motor vehicles and get a little information about what that's going to purchase and what our rotation is and what we're doing and what our needs are and
That right there is gonna be for a medium rescue. We've been trying to replace all the vehicles over a period of last 4 years. Kendall just got a brand-new medium-sized rescue. This right here will be ordered to order and spec out a medium-sized rescue truck that will also be used as a service company. And we can put a certain amount of equipment on that truck to go along with rescue, and that will go and give us more points in the ISO. That will work, that combination of pay people will help us work to get a lower rating. But there was one thing they covered when they came in and did our evaluation. They said if you have a service company that was dedicated to responding to fires and has a certain amount, it's got a list of equipment it has to have on it, then you get points for that goes against your ISO rating. So that's what we're planning on doing that, and that should wind up all the rescue trucks. We bought one for Annabelle, one for Kittrell, and then this one right here replaced this one, and so that should wind us up on our rescue trucks. Then we need to start replacing fire trucks. Our newest pieces of apparatus are 14 years old, and the other ones are 24 years old.
how many of them would there be in the rotation?
What do you mean as far as?
Well, I mean, I guess total, so that we can kind of have a sense of over
There's
time,
actually,
how
there's
frequently
probably
we need to be
22,
replacing.
there's 22 trucks that need to be replaced over a period of whatever time deemed necessary by the commission.
And what would their approximate cost be?
Anywhere from 350,000 to 375. Because we,
They have prepared a schedule that we're gonna start, but I mean, it's gonna take us a substantial length of time to actually take care of replacing these.
I had CTAS, County Technical Services, come in and take an inventory of all the county apparatus. And they've taken that and put in the schedule of replacing this apparatus, where a lot of the departments have 2 pumpers. They're looking at replacing maybe one of those pumpers with a pumper and the other pumper with a tanker. Trying to get some more tankers in the county because of limited water supply out in the rural area.
If we're completing our rotation of the rescue vehicles this year, or with this budget for this next fiscal year, would we have plans to begin on the fire trucks this time next year with the budget for that we'd be reviewing for 2015-16?
Yeah, what you really need, and if we had started this year, we need 3 new vehicles this year. 2 engines, a tanker and an engine, and a new medium rescue. And then next year, we need about 3. It takes about 3 and at least a minimum of 2 every year, just starting right now.
But we're not starting right now.
We're really not starting, we're only getting 2 right now, okay? So we're really not starting quite on the schedule already.
We're just getting one. We're starting with that medium rescue.
Medium rescue.
Yeah, line 718 has 1 vehicle, and that schedule calls for 3, and we're getting 1 of the 3.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see where we are next
Now,
year on funds.
if you have capital, development tax capital that comes in substantial and you wanna add in 1 or 2, I mean, we got a place for it every year right here.
We're doing about 1 out of the 3 on that
This-
schedule.
this
I mean, I
start-
guess I'd like to have in mind what it costs so that if we get to the end and maybe our development tax fund looks like it's coming in a little bit better, this would be one of the options that we could consider. I know that we're trying to get the sheriff's vehicles on a reasonable rotation, and hopefully we are. But I know that we got some vehicles here that aren't quite on the rotation, and I'm not wanting to jump out and spend a bunch of money at this point, but just to kind of have it in mind so that as we get to the end, if we have any slack at all.
A new pumper would be about 350, 375. A new tanker, you can get those for about 230,000. And
We're talking 600 to 900,000
Yeah.
a year if you want to get on a schedule of really getting these things replaced. Unless we decide to do this all at once or borrow the money. And so that's the only 2 choices.
If you bought them all at once, it all wore out at the same time, so I would
Yeah.
think we want to stagger that so we can,
Well,
but
and
that's an argument for next year.
In the past,
so.
what they did, and you know this because you've been here, the first year they bought 14 because they bought the municipalities. And then 10 years later, they bought 14 more. Since we created the county fire department, you don't have to do that. You can just, we got a county fire department. I don't think you have to buy the municipalities one, and we can buy one or two every year instead of buying them all at once.
Bought 11 first, I think.
Yeah, but, well, it was 14 because you bought 11 volunteer fire departments and you bought Smyrna, Laverne, and Smyrna ones, so it made 14.
Well, the total of all of this through 2024-25 fiscal year is almost $7 million, right at $7 million.
Well, that's 10 more years. There'll be a lot more stuff wore out between now and then.
But then we'll have to start over again.
The only thing I'm really having heartburn on is this incentive pay that we're giving to the paid volunteers. I'll call them paid volunteers. So we're gonna.
The incentive is for unpaid.
It's for the unpaid people to cover shifts.
But
for
only,
paid people.
only for his department, not for the rest of the volunteers in the county. And the line item that it's coming out of is money that was in, well, it was in the same line items we were using for all of the departments. So, I personally feel like that if we're gonna do that for one group, we gotta do it for all.
Well, then,
I guess, Mr. Farley, could the volunteers out in the county be a volunteer at one of the county volunteer fire departments plus hours?
yeah.
And if they are part of our group, they would get the compensation?
Well, if they could be, as long as they're certified, they could be from any of the departments.
And the
Where are you
Working on
saying
living
our group? That's
I'm
frustrated
sorry.
me
From
saying
the
that because
county.
I'm tired of hearing that we got Rutherford Fire Department when we're all part of Rutherford's County's fire departments.
Okay.
They're fire departments. And yes, we have one, and I understand the difference there. I'm just saying, these guys that are out here volunteering for us are actually doing a lot more money-wise for us than what these groups are, because there are more of them right now.
Well, and that's what we're trying to do. Me and the mayor's work together trying to build a good progressive fire department that would make all these other volunteers want to come up under that umbrella and be a part of that department.
Well, we'd like that too, but we can't afford that right now, is the problem that I see.
Actually, it would save money because some of these departments are paying $20,000 in insurance. I know one of them's paying $28,000 in insurance, and if they come up under the county, we're self-insured, that $20,000 would go back into operations.
Well, let's
So we
see,
could actually get more done.
We were paying about 40,000 per department, and you've taken over 4 departments.
Mhm. Well, 5 count rescue.
Well, 5 times 4, about
Well, 200,000.
200,000. What's your total budget here?
Well, it's,
$1,914,000.
Yeah, I don't think it would pay right now.
which that includes $700,000 for this grant money, plus it includes the $330,000 we're giving over to the volunteer departments.
If we didn't put some money in there to incentivize the volunteers to come in and work and fill those shifts, we'd have to hire more people, pay benefits and everything
Yeah.
else. So this is actually
pay
a cost
overtime
saving
or
net.
part-time.
This is the way I'm looking at being able to supplement, just like the ambulance service, they have PRNs. They have part-time people come in, and they pay them part-time and overtime. This right here is a way to use the volunteers that we have that are qualified to come in and may get $300 or $400 for 6 months, and that was telling how many shifts they'll cover during that
How many
time.
volunteers do we have?
Countywide, last count I had was about 315.
How many of them are qualified to do this program right here?
Well, since we started the county fire department, I brought the county fire commission, the firefighting commission in, and tried to give an opportunity for every firefighter across the county to get their credentials, get their certifications. So, we're actually running medical calls, helping EMS, we're doing education, and we're doing firefighting. So they would need a firefighter certification as firefighter 1, they would need extrication, and then they would need medical.
So how many do we have to fall under this?
The countywide, I couldn't tell you.
There's
I'm sure
quite a few.
there's quite a few.
Are these the ones you're talking about that's gonna be using this money? That's gonna be
The ones
coming
we're
to
talking
y'all
about are the
points?
ones that respond out of our stations.
Oh, shoot, what
With the grant.
Here you go.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The ones we're talking about are the ones that respond out of our,
And how many volunteers do you have?
I've got about,
In your department.
about 65.
Well, the other question I got while he's thinking about his,
Well, yeah, I was just saying, where are you gonna pull these people from? I mean, is this gonna be?
There are people it's already on the Rutherford County Fire Rescue Department
Mhm.
that meet these certifications that will come in when when one of the paid people have a vacation or Kelly day, or they're sick, then they'll come in and pull that 12-hour shift or 24-hour shift. With volunteers, you might have to have one pull 12 hours and the other one pull the next 12 hours. And
What about somebody from Kickrell that's certified in all three of those areas? And they're at the Kickrell Volunteer Fire Department out there. Can they come in and fill one of those square spots?
what we're looking at right now, no, but we could create a pool out of all those people.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I
That's
can't
what I'm
see it,
saying.
yeah.
Our people is who? Our people, Rutherford County, our people
I'm
that's
talking,
already
the
in
people
there,
I'm talking about,
volunteers.
the people I'm talking about are on the
Situation.
Rutherford County Fire Rescue Department.
But you
You're
could create
talking about
that
the other
pool
volunteers.
countywide as long as they have all the certifications.
Yeah, I
And
can
let
use
them
them.
come in off a random draw or something like that. Put their name on the list if they
Nothing
want.
to,
it.
nothing to
If
keep
they
them
wanted
from
it.
being volunteers on multiple departments, I suppose.
Well,
If they want to
it's
be.
not something he planned on. I mean, the question I had is, why didn't we see this as public safety? And I'm kinda caught surprised here.
We didn't see it because I didn't want to ask for any new money, and he had been talking about this before public safety, and when this event sort of happened with Laverne, which we didn't expect, we just took an opportunity to suggest doing this.
And I can see all offering incentives to your people. I understand, and I wanna try to help you there. But I don't want to exclude our other people that are doing this for free anyway. Well, not for free, it's costing them money. I don't know, it's kinda, to me, it's a slap in their face.
So 189 is where that 300,000 is that we're talking about.
Talking about 30,000.
I'm at 30,000 line on 599.
599.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's 30,000 out of the 45 that we cut from Laverne.
To net 15,000 less.
Okay, what's the 189 then, the 300,000 increase there?
Which line are you on?
189.
189, that's the grant.
It's the firefighter.
That's showing the grant.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
all grant, yeah, that's the grant money.
But doesn't that grant money, isn't it supposed to pay the insurance and everything?
It is.
It
It
is,
pays
even though it's
benefits,
on the-
insurance, and everything.
And so for these 12 guys, or these 12 people, let me rephrase that. I mean, maybe Lisa's volunteered to go out and got her
It's about
certificate.
700,000
Okay, but I thought that was 2 years.
It is.
700 a year.
Oh,
It's
okay.
only 1 year at a time in a
Okay.
year.
So what you're saying is for these 12 people that have been hired, right? Plus the one person we have that's keeping up with training and all
Right.
that. Well, he has already been on, but it basically took us up from 59,000 in employee dependent insurance. This year, these 12 people are taking us up to 155,000
Yes.
Yeah.
next year.
Yes.
That's what 12 people are doing.
So your $1,899,000
That's-
without the grant money would be $1,199,000,
Mhm.
which would be less money than we're currently spending this year.
Okay. Can I ask, okay, and 399 then is just the volunteers and the rescue, the different fire departments that are.
Yeah, because
Five.
when Laverne, and to clear it up, when Laverne shut down, or Laverne shut them down, that means that all three rescue squads are gone now.
Mhm.
They've all meshed with the fire departments.
Yeah. Can I ask one more thing? This money that pays for the county to fire department that isn't grants and stuff, it comes out of money in the unincorporated area of the county through sales taxes.
Are you talking about excluding the grant?
Yeah.
Excluding the
Uh-huh.
grant?
It's all.
What we use is,
Well, what I'm getting at is, I think I've asked before, but I'm gonna push it.
Don't tell you what you.
Well, I wanna see some figures, is what it is. I wanna see, you can use last year for all I care. I wanna know how much money is generated just in Rutherford County, the unincorporated area, that can go for anything needed in the county.
you've got your sales tax,
Yeah.
you've got hotel motel tax. And between those two has always been more than what the estimate for.
Well, okay, well, what's that come to? Is it 4 million a year? 3 million a year, 2.5?
Hotel motel's 1.6 million. And,
And that all goes to unincorporated area of the county?
It's our share of the hotel motel tax. It's already shared with,
Doesn't have to go for any tourism or anything like that?
well, I mean, it does. I mean, there's 40%.
Okay.
So take out 40%, because that's already been allocated. So, and I do generally take that out.
2,080,000.
And then
Sales tax is 480.
480,
Hotel motels 1.6.
yeah.
So 480,000 is the sales tax, and the hotel motels, 1.6 million.
1.6.
So- Okay, that can go to anything that the county needs it for. Right, okay, so that's, yeah, by my figures, that's roughly 2.1 million.
And then you've got 700,000 of the grant
Yeah.
on top of it. I mean, when you start adding,
Yeah,
what can you do?
because,
Yeah.
with this budget, we can. So what you're
So
telling me.
that's what I've been doing, you know, all along. I've pegged those two revenue
Okay.
sources as saying, okay, that's,
Mhm.
nobody has a claim
So
on
when we lose the grant here in a couple of years.
When we lose.
Well, when it runs out. in two-
expires.
For all we know, they'll
yeah.
renew the grant. you
Yeah,
know.
well, but I'm saying, when we're faced with that, because the sales tax in the county may go up a little bit, and the hotel motel tax maybe will go up a little bit.
That's when we can start shifting, because of the sales tax, only 20% of the sales tax from the rural area goes into this fund. Only 20%.
That's not all the sales tax.
That's
You can
not
say
the-
20% of sales tax is the $480,000.
Oh, okay.
There's
So then you
80%
can
more.
start.
Where's it
Well,
going right
We've
now?
allocated various places you have over the years.
Okay.
20% for.
Oh, some of it's gotta go for recreation and stuff like this, no?
No, of the sales tax, 20% goes to the highway, 20% goes to, general fund, 60% goes to solid waste.
Okay.
So you could start shifting more of the sales tax over. It leaves a hole in solid waste, so you've gotta do that,
Okay.
but, I mean,
Okay, so
You
you
can
got more
move some
places
stuff
you can
around.
drive from,
Mhm.
okay. Mhm. I just wanted to see what, so now we get 2 more fire departments out in the county, and we could be getting in better shape, but we're looking at where the money's coming from, okay?
it's just
Thank
not when you pull it out of one fund,
Mhm.
you gotta replace that.
Okay.
Have you talked to the Blairs?
They were part of that process when all that went before the Inglewood City Council or Alderman.
Laverne?
Yeah, but then that was all worked out, and they were present during all that. And basically what's happened is they hired enough people to do another shift. It was a private company, and it's gone public. They've hired a whole new shift for Eagle, and then that was part of the process to go ahead and take over education and fire service and everything in the county. Because they were already pretty much doing it anyway.
You're talking about Eagle?
I mean Laverne. Did I say Eagle? I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
I meant
yeah.
Laverne.
Yeah,
The Blairs have been
they've been there.
there for generations helping out with that kind of thing. And we really do appreciate their service. I don't
They
know.
started
They're
that
involved in
rescue
any way
squad,
now,
right?
but
Yeah.
Well, it almost happened 2 years ago. The city was looking at it, and they just couldn't quite handle it a couple of years.
Well, and I think they've had some issues too, of trying to keep people, personnel, and
Mhm.
keeping 2 people on the truck too, so.
Gentlemen, we do have a motion and a second. Do we need any further discussion? I will remind you, our total is different than what we have on our iPads. It's $1,899,886. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
1. Commissioner Fitz.
Give me that total one more time.
1,899,886.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Farr.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones, gentlemen, page 74.
Madam Chairman?
Good evening,
Commissioner?
Mr. Jones. Building codes, part of the budget. Mayor Burgess, please.
Okay.
No.
Okay, building codes, the recommended amount is $850,723. That's about a $17,000 reduction, and let me see, I haven't made any notations of anything significant, except he's been able to reduce it even though the insurance is up about 10,000.
No car this year?
No car, no vehicle this year.
No office equipment?
And no office equipment is allowed
Probably
all that
pick
to
up
happen.
trucks instead of a car, I guess. but-
It would be, but, yeah, we're not asking this year, or motor vehicle.
How are your inspections? Are they picking up quite a bit, or, I know we got the person back last year, I guess it was. Is that
We didn't-
right?
We didn't add a
I
person
thought,
back.
I
that
thought
one.
we swapped one back at planning, did some swapping there. but-
Actually, he is down probably 3 or 4
Now,
positions.
I'm
since we
down 3
started this
positions since we started the fall of the
2007
permits.
rate, yeah.
Last year's total was 556 single-family dwellings. Our lowest point in 2010 was 321, so we've come up quite a bit in the last 3 years and continue to make progress in our numbers. And
What was our peak and our highest number? Probably in 06 or 07, I mean, approximately.
well, we've done over 1,000 single families, 1,200 to be around about closer, I think, on 1 year. But our 25-year average is probably around 700 single families. So we're getting close to that point. I think this year we're going to be around 600.
Madam Chairman, motion to approve, I think it's a good budget.
Commissioner Sandlin, thank you. Seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones. Yes, Mr. Solandi, if you will join us, please. Gentlemen, we need to be on page 62 for the Correctional Work Center's budget. Good evening, Mr.
Apologies,
Solandi.
I didn't know I was supposed to be here.
No apology necessary, just glad you're here. Mayor Burgess, your recommendation, please.
Okay, $3,869,703. That's up about $16,000. Of course, standard step increases. And insurance is up a substantial amount of money, well, about $40,000, I believe. You may have some questions about, we've sort of moved, guards appears to be down 40,000, but you'll notice clerical personnel is up about 40-something thousand, so we've sort of, I believe we sort of switched around the responsibilities of a person, did we not?
Yes.
Moved the
somehow?
body.
Yes, we did.
Moved the body out of one and into another one, so that sort of netted
Move the
itself
person,
out.
not person.
Yeah, moved the person.
Everybody perked up back there with the badges and the guns. I'm not moving the body.
One place all the time, state return.
Anyway,
It's decent.
let's see. I didn't know anything else except we've reduced other contracted services about $38,000. We are now doing our laundry basically in the house, not with a contract, so we've made a bit of improvement there. But other than that, we're not having any office equipment or other equipment itemized in the budget this year, so the total is only about a $16,000 total increase, even with the health insurance increase. So more than that.
Other contracted services, they asked for $860 basically, and you gave them $800, which is down from last year. Was there something we moved to another line or something? Because usually those numbers are what they are. I mean,
I don't know if we've done the laundry the whole full year or not.
That-
See,
that
we've got
laundry's
food, we've got
another-
food,
Right.
food, laundry, we removed the laundry, we've got Dr. Rudd, and any number of other.
And the food also.
And the food, yeah, I mentioned the food with ABL.
Dr. Rudd's going up this year, isn't he?
He probably will, we've got the same amount in here for right now, but we'll have to, he gives us a financial statement, and then we are able to sort of know what we owe, and
Didn't we go with him on a 3-year contract or something? Or was that just from the sheriff's part of it?
it is, but we do have the option to renew it for 2 additional terms, or maybe more than that at this particular, if the sheriff had original plus 2, I think we had original plus more than that.
Okay.
But I don't remember exactly how many years.
Mr. Solandi, any comments from you about your budget?
I know, man, but we already went over it. Mayor Burgess and Ms. Nolan and everything looked fine with me.
Move to approve.
Commissioner Jernigan, thank you, seconded by Commissioner Sandlin. Any further discussion or questions for Mr. Solandi?
Good job.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thanks. Gentlemen, if you will go back to the very first of our budget proposal, we need to go into another folder. So if you will go to Fund 118, which is the ambulance service, go all the way back to the very beginning and get out of 101 and go to 118.
Expenditures.
And gentlemen, we're going to, we may end up then need this new tab sheet that is in our folder at some point in time. Mr. Nunley will join us. Good evening, Mr. Nunley.
How are you?
And our finance director wants us, please, as we're at Fund 118, go to the revenue first, please.
We're estimating total revenue at $9,873,988. Our expenditures that Mayor will be speaking to, $11,861,545. I said before that we would need 3.28 pennies to balance this budget, and we are recommending by balancing it using fund balance. With the certified tax rate, we're estimating 5.64 cents going to this fund.
Okay, and now we're ready to go to the expenditure part of the budget.
Is that because we haven't collected as much? Or enough?
We took money away. In the current year, we moved pennies away from the ambulance to fund the general, which is why the revenue is less.
But the collections so far this year aren't as good as last year.
Collections are a little behind.
Can I ask, what is the projected fund balance? Oh, never mind, I'm seeing it down there
Yeah.
now. Glasses. Yeah.
But there's no minimum requirement in this
There
particular.
is no
account.
fund balance requirement in this fund.
Are we ready now to go to expenditures? Mayor Burgess, your recommendation?
Well, Ms. Nolan just told you that the recommendation is $11,861,555. And that compares to last year's budget. The amended budget was, I'm not sure this was the original budget. Ms. Nolan may know that was 12.8 million, so it's down substantially. But we had substantial more. We had health equipment line 735, it was 419,000 that we now only asking for 36.8. We had some grant money in 790, 55,000, and we don't have anything in that line item this year. Motor vehicles, we had 454,000 last year. He's asking for 322,000, which is 2 ambulances and 2 administrative vehicles and 1 maintenance vehicle. So that's what is in the replacement for that. And the building construction, we have in this year's budget $250,000 to renovate and rehab the PACE building that we now have acquired from the hospital. So all of those things together are substantially why there's what appears to be $1 million reduction in the this year's budget request. Now, if you go back up to look through all those other line items, you're going to find that all of those, there are no additional people or personnel, and all of this up there is pretty much just a continuation with the step increases for all the staff members. There's a $120,000 increase in employee insurance. There's an increase in contracts with private agencies, of which Mr. Nunley will have to remind us what that $50,000 is, or maybe Ms. Michoto. So those are the few key things that have changed. The rest of it is almost identical to current year budget.
Mike, in services cut in half, basically, what, I mean, off year or something, or it seemed like that would stay?
Every 2 years, our personnel have to renew their
So
certification.
that's an off year then, okay. Small amount, but it's just kind of.
It's the same, 40,526.
It's the same as it was last year. 196.
I'm looking at yours, 524.
Line item 524.
Another answer. In the past, we've been able to get a few ambulances with some help out, like Christy Houston and stuff, if we been to that well about as many times as we can for a while.
Well, probably the short answer is yes. They may come back to us and offer, but they told us last year, they've really been very generous
They've
with
been
us
very
over the last
generous,
2 or 3
yeah.
years, and they asked us to just take a little bit of a respite.
Let's keep them on speed dial.
Right.
What did we get in vehicles last year? We got 3 ambulances, right?
Last year.
We got 2 new ambulances, and we changed the box from an old chassis to a new chassis.
Any other vehicles besides those?
Yeah, we bought a replacement truck for my truck.
That's right. I lost on that deal, didn't I? Okay. Sorry. What I'm getting at is, do we need 2 new admin vehicles this year?
Yeah, we truly did. That, those 2, they're Ford Explorers, and they're truly worn out.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Jernigan, thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Jordan. Any further discussion?
$1 million less, regardless how we got there, is $1 million, and that's a lot of pennies adding up. So I wanted to say thank you for digging that out for us.
Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's about it. We can go home now.
We are adjourned.
No, I don't agree.
Okay, gentlemen, let's go back to 101. And let's take a few minutes to make sure we're where we need to be. We need to be on page 53. 53. And Sheriff Arnold is joining us with
You want
Mr.
to take a
Russell.
bathroom break before we get started?
Shall we keep going, gentlemen? I
All right.
think we're ready to keep going.
That'll work.
Just cut it 5% right now, and we all leave.
That will flip you for 25%.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, we're ready now to start with the Sheriff's Department, page 53. Mayor Burgess and Sheriff Arnold and Mr. Russell, however you're going to handle this.
Okay. We're on the Sheriff's Department budget. And, I have a few things to say after I give you the recommendation that we'll go through. Start with the recommendation is $22,465,508. Now, let's sort of review a little bit of this before we get going, and then the sheriff will, I'm sure, want to respond. If you go down through all of these line items that have anything to do with salary, line item 101 through 189 plus all the other benefits, you're going to see substantial differences in most of those line items. Where we are with this is this. The mayor's recommendation includes, there are no new employees or anything like that. This mayor's recommendation includes the same number of employees under the definition of our salary schedule as it's now prepared. All of these get the appropriate step raise. That's in the mayor's recommendation. There's been a fair amount of discussion, I would say. And you writing a note right here, okay. There, yeah, there's two different things. The only thing that will be added to the mayor's recommendation is this, and we don't have the precise numbers. But for the sheriff's office, there are 7 people that are included in either civil warrants, criminal warrants, that the sheriff is wanting to move up to a level equivalent to what people that are now on patrol receive, okay? And there's a similar number of people that are in the jail budget that we won't talk about those. So to this sheriff's office, there are 7 people that would have increases that are in the neighborhood of $11,000 or $12,000 per year that are not in the mayor's recommendation, of which I'm going to recommend that we do that, and then you guys can ask your questions about him, to him, and he can explain to you why that happens, okay? So that's sort of the uptake on that. There are 2 other positions that are in the sheriff's budget. One is the public information officer, and one is changing one position from a lieutenant to a captain. That if you choose to approve that, that's about another $6,000. So between those 2, it's somewhere 17 or 18,000, subject to confirmation of these positions and exactly how many dollars would be there.
On the 7 people, was that $11,000 a piece, or
No,
between
sir,
the 7?
About
Between the 7.
$11,000 and
Okay,
$12,000 between the
that's
7.
more easier to swallow than 11,000 a piece.
And the other 2 positions, if you choose to do those 2. So you have sort of 2 discussions. This group of 7 all are being done for the same reason, and the group of 7, no, 3, 6, is it 3, up in jail, 7 up in jail as well, are being done for the similar reasons. So when you have this discussion, you'll have the same discussion again when we get to the jail. All right, saying all that to say, you'll get all confused, just as we have been confused for days about trying to match up these line items with these salaried positions with respect to what the mayor's recommendation is. And he can speak to that, but I think he's basically telling us that he accepts what we're saying about how we're going to treat the current employees in the sheriff's office, with the exception of these 9 people that I've just described to you. Now, is that a fair statement? So that sort of sets the stage for where we are. I'll say you this, what's on the paper here, if you just add up all of these salaries that they initially proposed, those numbers that the sheriff had is about $124,000 more than the mayor's recommendation. So if you were to accept his, this suggested approach, instead of $124,000 more that he initially asked for, it's in the neighborhood of $17,000 or $18,000, okay?
Does that include the jail part?
No, sir,
No.
just the sheriff's office.
The sheriff's office.
We're staying right here, so.
Mayor, a couple of quick questions, just to make sure I'm following you correctly. It's $22,465,508, your recommendation.
Plus I'm recommending, these 7 people.
So you're recommending to add another 12, approximately 12?
And then I'm asking you to consider adding maybe another $6,000 for these other 2 positions that you can discuss on this sheriff's budget.
And that is keeping the old, or the
Current pay.
Current pay.
Keep our
Current
current
pay
pay
plan.
plan in place. with
without going back to the old
We're
one?
gonna stay right where we are, and with the step increases in this current pay plan.
So you're.
You're moving some people who are in a pay grade 17 to a pay grade 20, and some that are in a pay grade 19 to a pay grade 20.
So you're going from 22,465 to about 22,480, so pretty close to that. With, if the recommendations.
If you do all of this, you'll be a little bit, it'll be about 483 instead of 465. on just the effect of the salaries. Now, he's gonna have, I'm sure,
There'll be a bit of a
several.
wave through the other incidental expense.
Yeah,
You know, I
then you
think when
got
you
to-
raise the salary, you got a little more of the other.
Right.
Which will be a
What we're asking is that
fairly
we-
small number, but it'll adjust everything down.
We'll have to go back and add those.
And it changes the benefits, et cetera. So it'll be a bit more when you add the benefits on top of that number. But that's the base number of those line items through 189 would be affected about as much as 18,000.
Now, Mayor, or maybe the Sheriff, explain to me why these people deserve $12,000, the total. It's got, whatever it is, the fees. What is the problem? There was something with the pay plan, I know you were telling us in.
It's housekeeping. Last year, whenever we did the new pay plan, these guys are considered the same as patrol officers. A little bit different job description, but the basics are the same, as you can see here in their titles. So, it's just cleaning it up and getting them to where they should be. You can see right here, transport, and then patrol, and criminal warrants and civil warrants. So their job descriptions are ultimately the same.
When did that job description change? Because before. it
Several
was
years.
civils.
If you remember, my first year in office, we worked very hard to get all the transport officers certified. And
I
that's
recall.
when we got them up to the same as patrol. And then we did the same thing with civil process. Criminal has always been part of patrol, but these guys all got left out of that. So working with Sonia, this is ultimately what I was trying to do the other night when we had the confusion. But this is exactly what I was trying to do.
And I understand what you've got there. I just don't recall it being spelled out as patrol/civil warrants.
And then this over here, if you can see.
Because there's no doubt in my mind, that's a very dangerous job.
Yes.
So this is only the salary piece of it now, so you've got all of the other line items you can review.
Does that include the benefits, that 124,000 that you said?
No, sir.
No.
Just the base salary differential was about 124,000.
Plus, we're adding 17 to it if we take.
Well, we're not doing the 124.
No, we're not
We're
doing.
doing
No.
17 instead of 124.
That's right, that's what
Right,
it
yeah.
would be doing
Yeah.
if you accept this recommendation.
Yeah, I'd heard horror stories about what we're gonna see, but I can live with this first
Yeah.
plan on the salary.
Well, there's been a lot of,
Don't you love gossip?
You all have put a lot of work in, everybody's done that side of the table, I appreciate that. All the way down to motor vehicles, last year at $1.5 million.
Let's
Yeah.
We can
stay
go
a
back to
minute.
that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you've got assistants under here. I assume one of them sitting right in front of me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how many of them are there? I see 3 of them. Is there just 3?
You've got a sheet in your
Yeah,
packet.
yeah. Oh, boy,
Y'all
will
recall
that straighten
seeing
me?
this. So you tells you how many people are in the line.
Okay.
Way back, take one that's
In the very back.
that's just.
Should be the very last document in your folder.
This- This is 30.
Okay, so why should the one lieutenant be moved to captain? Sure, what's changed on what he's doing, or?
If you'll notice in the line item, 121, this is the first year for that line item. We had done it in the past. But this year we made it an actual IT department. So we moved those positions, we moved captains over into those positions, into the IT positions. The captain pay grades, because with your IT people usually come with a little bit more pay. So we went ahead and we moved those over. And so we're asking to take one of our lieutenants and make a lieutenant, or make a captain on patrol out of one of those lieutenants. So we'll have one captain for patrol. I took the 2 captains that used to be on patrol and moved those positions into IT. So I'm asking to take one of the current lieutenants and make into a captain's pay grade.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Jordan, you can go ahead. I'll ask all I want to on the pay.
Well, I was bouncing down, we can bounce right back up, but I was just wondering, I looked ahead at the automobiles. I know we've gone through a major change with automobiles. They used to be the Crown Vics for years. They were fairly inexpensive. Well, now we've got all the menagerie of whatever it is you're buying, and they cost a lot more per vehicle. The equipment doesn't change overnight. You've got $1 million this year. How many will that buy?
Bailey thinks it'll buy about anywhere from 15 to 20 at the most.
We used to buy a Crown Vic for like 26 or 7,000 and move all our stuff.
Yeah.
But now that doesn't work. The stuff's obsolete.
Well, it depends on what, if we, the 2 Fords, everything is interchangeable. Now with the Dodge, it's not interchangeable. It's totally different stuff.
Well, once we get the new Fords up, we're replacing them.
Yes.
But we're still replacing.
Yeah, we're
phasing
still,
out
yeah,
Crown
we're
Vics.
still phasing out Crown
Yeah,
Vics.
and you gotta buy all the equipment.
Gotta buy all new
with that.
vehicles.
Seems like last year we spent about 1.5 million on 30 new vehicles.
Yes.
So I guess I was thinking maybe a million here and in line 718 would be about 20 cars. And it seems like that's what we talked about last year as being the amount that we really needed to buy on an annual basis with, or else we were gonna fall behind.
Well, yes, that was kind of it, but now we've also added 13 new officers. That's another thing that we have to take into
We got
account.
a buyout too on something on the cars, couple year models.
That was
whatever
my
new,
first
that
year
was
in
new.
office, whenever we took all the ending year fund balance. We asked to take all the ending year fund balance that was left over, and we went out and we bought as many cars with that as we could, and I forget, how many did we buy that year?
32 or something.
Yeah, we bought a bunch of cars with ending year fund balance that year to kind of catch us up.
The Crown Vics that were going out.
Yeah, we bought as many Crown Vics as we could find across the state.
So with the motor vehicles, what are you anticipating your breakdown? Because I know, like last year, you bought a couple SUVs, you brought some Ford Patrol, I think, also, and you brought a couple other vehicles for
We've bought
different-
Dodges, we've bought
Yeah.
the Taurus, and we've bought the Explorers.
Are these gonna be all patrol vehicles that you're looking at? That's
Uh,
the same?
Majority of them.
The majority of them. There'll probably be a couple that are different vehicles. I know some SROs are looking for a couple of other vehicles. Detectives, looking for, 1 or 2 more vehicles. You have admin, that are looking for some different vehicles, so.
I thought with a big thing with the SROs was they got the old patrol vehicles as new one came.
They do,
on.
but the supervisors usually, they try to take, well, we have one Explorer that has, roughly about 300 and some odd thousand miles, it has a command post in it. It's time that we take it out back and shoot it, it's served its purpose, and so we need to replace it and put a new command post in it, in case something should happen. So that, we're looking at some of these older vehicles within the SRO division, but they may need 1 or 2.
Well, I'm gonna ask a question now, and I guess it's, you hear it a lot, we all hear it a lot when it comes to this. How many of the vehicles are taken home by your officers? And how does that break out with let's just say the 3 cities in this county? I think they do the same thing, don't they? Take
Yeah,
them in
all the
end.
cities have take-home vehicles.
Mhm.
Our guys, certified guys, take them home. We have 4 people that take them out of county because of their position. We had a lot more people taking them out of county when I took office, and we've cut that way down. But all the officers take them home, or at least take them to the county line, that live out of county.
So all your patrols?
Yes,
basically-
they're all
basically take 'em.
scattered out.
Yeah.
And the theory on that is, if you remember some of the pictures you saw with Katrina, the school buses, they had them all in one lot within the water rose, and it destroyed all the buses. If you have all your cars, let's say if we had every one of our cars sitting at the sheriff's office, and we had a hailstorm or a tornado or some effect like that, then it could damage everything, and then we can't get out in the field. So if we've got people staged in different areas, at least we can go and respond to different areas.
And all they do is drive them home and drive them back the next day, or the
Correct.
next shift that they have.
A lot of our guys now, we've been able, with some of our technology, which we'll get into in the budget, they're not coming back to the SO at the end of their shift. They're staying out in their zone, and some of them work the zone that they live in, and they're staying out in their zone till the last minute. Well, then also they're going, what we call 10-8, available from their house into their zone. They're not coming to the sheriff's office. If they've got to turn in paperwork, with the technology that we've done by getting us into the 21st century,
Laptops and all
yeah,
that.
the laptops and with the rocket modems and stuff we've put on the cars, they can send their paperwork via the internet as a CAD system. They send it all in. So they are literally in their zones the majority of the time, except for maybe if they go to meal breaks.
You're saying what they do is they have increased zone time?
Yes.
Of what they used to have, say, 5 years ago or whatever?
Yes.
And there's some crime deterrence, just having the cars out there in the driveway or parked on the street of the
Yes.
houses where the folks live, so.
You'll-
That you wouldn't get if they were parked at the sheriff's property.
You'll find that most people that have an officer living in their neighborhood, they'll tell you that they love that vehicle in their neighborhood. It gives them an
Sure.
extra added security, and so they really want that vehicle in their neighborhood.
Now, you said something about, there's some administration that has vehicles also, that are they taking them on?
Yes, Chief Garrett, yeah, he takes his home. Virgil takes his home. You have Captain Spence, he takes his home. So you
I don't
different-
have one.
No, he does not have one. The admin side does not have them. I took them away from them back when I took office.
Well, you said admin was.
Well,
vehicle,
what I'm,
so it's what was
admin
confusing.
on the sheriff's office side, certified admin has cars.
Okay.
Civilian admin does not have cars. Also took the captain over, dispatch had a vehicle, and we took her vehicle from her too.
Looking at 451 on uniforms, I'm really confused in uniforms. It seems like, well, even in this room, we've got
Yes.
quite a few different uniforms. Where are we on the uniform thing?
We have a Class A uniform, we have a Class B uniform, C, D, E, and F uniform.
Isn't that expensive?
It's actually mixing and matching
Why aren't we mixing and matching?
because of different job functions that we do. We have a Class A that is for funerals, parades, ceremonial stuff, just like with all the other departments within the county. Then we have our Class B, which is our normal uniform that you've always seen us in. And then our Class C is what
Which
you.
might be Virgil's do, right?
That is Class B.
Okay.
We've got an SRO in here. Darlene. Darlene, we spin it. That's a Class C, kinda. It's kinda what the SROs wear. And then, no, C, D. So, kinda what Whit's wearing is.
Green.
Yeah, yes.
But not everybody has all those classes. It's
No.
The job description
The job
dictates
description.
which one they
And the
get.
big thing is with the green, if you, like what Virgil's wearing, pants are approximately $80, shirt's approximately $80. What Whit's wearing, $25 and $25. So there's a big difference. So if he's out in the field, and you know, we get numerous calls where we have to go into the woods and chase people. If you wear this uniform, it can snag and it kind of, it, you know, wears out that uniform. The others, it doesn't, it can take it, and it's a whole lot cheaper to replace.
So you ain't gotta go change clothes to chase the bad guy then, or anything?
Correct.
Just come in and get him.
And you don't get a lot of kookaburras on you either, with the other ones.
But this is gonna be a constant deal in the uniform, so it's not
Yeah,
gonna.
if you notice, over the years,
That's
you know,
what I'm trying to say. It's
yeah,
a,
it's a wash.
well, it's not really a
Yeah.
wash, it's a constant expense on uniforms.
Yeah.
You know, I was a buyer at Barrett. We gave the guys 511s and T-shirts, and for 150 employees there, we were going through $50,000 a year in uniforms. So. It adds up.
And of course, one of my pet peeves is the overtime line item, and it dropped. Why did it drop? I'm proud it dropped. Let's see, let me get back over to it. Let's see, 55,
It's more or less it increased because of grants,
53.
and then I think their overtime now is showing back less grants.
We got those grants from the state for DUI checkpoints and stuff like
Yes.
that, for one thing.
That brought it down because we were pushing $1 million.
This year. But it
Well,
took
you
it
gotta
up this
remember,
year.
you know, years ago when it first took over, they were not, all your guys that were going out working ball games and all that were getting paid on site. And then when we started tracking that internally, that upped overtime $140,000 a year. That was where the huge increase came from.
Mhm.
See,
It never was really a lot more overtime, it was always there, it's just being tracked differently as a
Yes.
county.
In the past, the schools just paid them
Yes,
directly,
sir.
but there was an issue with benefits and
That's right.
everything else.
The federal government basically came in or told us, hey, you need to fix this, and so we had to fix it.
What was you gonna
The
say?
problem, well, just following up, the problem is that there's still county employees doing their job, and so it's an overtime issue.
Mhm.
So instead of just paying a flat rate, we had to ensure that they were being paid appropriately, and the schools are reimbursing for those costs as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, our number went up, but the school system's reimbursing us for that cost.
I'll ask one more and then I'll make a motion. What do we have possibly staring in the face this coming year as a surprise?
I had that kind
Wouldn't
of
be
a
a
Christmas.
surprise.
Yeah, we had a surprise.
Hey, okay, you got out there and around there.
Well, you know, we hope nothing happens in the Middle
Yeah.
East because we don't want gas prices to go up. But if I
But
had
do you know anything that's getting on its last leg, say that? It's probably more, that question's probably more applicable to the jail than it is to the sheriff's department.
Well-
But what I was getting at is your cars are getting up to snuff with last year.
We're getting some good equipment. We're getting, you know, up to snuff with equipment. It comes into maintenance. We've talked about several times the roof.
Mhm.
It leaks. We patch it. It's gonna need replacing, and you're in public safety. We've talked about the grant that we've applied for. We didn't get it one year. We've reapplied. If I do get that grant for the county, I'll, just like, you know, the other committee, you know, we'll be ecstatic, to get that grant, because that's about a $225,000 grant for that roof. So, right now, when we get into that budget line item, you'll see how much we have in there just to fix the roof is about $225,000, approximately.
Now,
Yeah.
we do have some increases we need to talk about that are minor, that we'd like to ask for, that are different from what the mayor's
Yeah.
request. So,
With the mayor's,
if we do that before you make a motion, I would think
yeah.
so.
Yeah, because with the mayor's request, when it comes to the budgetary, or to the payroll line items, with what he's proposing with my other guys too, I can live with that. I can live with that request. When we get on down into the other line items, we need to talk.
You better be talking, looks like.
We'll get
Well,
on.
do you want to go ahead and pass, or talk, you know, go ahead and
Go ahead and
approve
get
the
the rest of it,
payroll
right.
line items and then move on?
I'm
Just
just
do it
talking
as a
about
whole.
the budget, which would be the
This is 22.
22,465,000. If you got some stuff included in that, now it's time to talk.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to do some additional
So then
items.
we need to talk about line item 307, communication line item. And I'll ask Darlene to step up here.
Before he starts on all of these, let me say this. Here's how Lisa and I came up with that number. We looked at what they've spent year to date. We looked at what they've encumbered year to date. And I guess the only unknown is what are they yet to encumber they haven't encumbered. And most of these that may be addressed, we had substantial dollars already encumbered that hadn't even been used, some of which were outstanding all the way back to July of last year. I'm not saying that applies to every one of these line items, but that was our philosophy when we went through here.
And we try to push a little bit different in that. I ask our department heads, if you don't need to spend it, let's hang on and not spend it, and let's not teach our employees to run out and blow their budget at the end of the year just so they get it next year.
I understand.
I've always thought that's kind of a tough way to do things, and so that's where we've been kind of operating just a little bit
But it's
different.
late in the year already.
Oh, yeah, I agree,
It's been
yeah.
pretty
I agree.
near to the end of this journey.
Yeah.
Well, and a
It is
lot
now,
of,
definitely now.
And on top of that, I mean, we want to budget what we need to budget, but we don't want to budget more than we need.
Right.
Because you're gonna have to fund it in your property tax rate. So if you add $500,000 back, we need another penny from somewhere. Cut expenses or add revenue.
Yeah, I'd rather leave the penny out than scrape it up out of other line items or somewhere, even if we had to go into undesignated fund balance, you know, but, you know, if you save as much as it possibly could be, we've gotta get a penny somewhere or something,
Mhm.
personally.
Well, we've got a difference on line 307. We originally requested 400,000. The mayor's recommended 350. And Darlene will tell you, Ms. Spence here, she can go over those details if you'd like, of what that line encumbers for us and why that request is a very specific request. And we really do need the $400,000.
Well, and basically, it's very simple, and first I'll say, as far as anything being encumbered in 307, everything in there is cash disbursements because it's payments made to AT&T and Verizon. So, with that being said, we don't do purchase orders for that account. We do straight cash disbursements. This year, we do have additional monies in that account simply because we have just recently activated 44 rocket modems that were in the beginning of the budget for this year that we did not actually put into service until the first part of this month. So we were able to save that money for the past 10 months. So that is one reason why we do have some extra in 307 right now, which was nice. We won't have it next year. From this point forward, we have 88 rocket modems up and running. Now, I have gone back through and I have reworked the numbers again. There are some other areas where we did have some overlaps that it appeared we were gonna have to wait until July, August, and September to start turning some devices off. I verified some things. We were gonna be able to turn some things off sooner. So we can cut these numbers back a little bit. And once we do that, we may be able to get just under 400,000. However, I will say this, in our AT&T contracts with our tower circuits, there are several circuits that the contracts on those circuits are going to expire. I have been meeting with John Buchanan at AT&T. There is nothing has been decided as of yet as to what type of circuit is going to replace the existing circuit, but more than likely it will be slightly more expensive, if not at least the same rate, but possibly more expensive than the existing circuit. If that holds true, then there's no way that we can cut this. We've gone through, I've worked with Captain Spence on these towers and these circuits to see if there's any of these that we can shut off. At this point, it does not look like we will be able to shut any of these towers off. My understanding right now is that they are still having issues with communications in the towers as they are now. So cutting anything off would be a no for sure. So replacing some of these circuits is, I mean, it's something that's gonna have to be done, and which could potentially cause an increase, not a decrease, but we just don't know at this point. It'll be later on into the next budget year, probably sometime between December and January, before we know for sure how much that could be. So right now, we really have to stay at the 400,000. Otherwise, we would experience a loss of service, literally.
Or you could come back up and ask for some more money in December or January, whenever that shortfall comes.
And I think what, she's touched on it, but what the mayor and I was looking at, as of today, there's 154,000 available to spend in this line.
Yeah, you'll have some money left over for this year. But, I mean, the mayor didn't, and they didn't know we didn't have all the rocket modems on yet.
Well, that money would go into ending fund balance,
Yes,
and if we
and
end
then
up
ending
needing to
fund
go
balance.
back to ending fund balance in December or January, we would just put the money back, I would think. You know, it goes back to what the mayor said, if you fund it all now, we've gotta put that penny on the tax rate, and, or if it adds up that much, and otherwise, we just, and that money's be hopefully dumped right back into ending fund balance, be sitting right there to adjust up later in, later in the year.
I'll bring back the video.
That's just my thought. How many of these have y'all got? That's the only
We
one
got,
you
no,
got?
we got
I
some.
figured
We
that's
got
the
just a
one.
couple more, and
No, we
it's
got-
not a lot, it's not a big difference, so.
Actually, going back one too, line item 169, which is part-time personnel.
Right. I did jump the gun, yeah, sorry. Thank you, I'll be back though.
Yeah, stay close.
This is for school traffic personnel at the schools. There's calculation for 75 personnel, 180 days, $34 a day, was $459,000. And then we needed 2 hours of training for each of those employees, and that was $2,550 for a total request of $461,550.
I think the difference there is that the calculation for the current year is not on 75, so what you're asking is for additional, because it was only 72.
72, yeah.
That was approved.
But the request came from the CSU unit, Mr. Cassidy, and he wanted those extra people.
It's
So
because
the
of the part-
question, so that,
Yeah.
the thing is, you need
Oh, yeah,
3
yeah,
more
yeah, we need 3 more
part-time
personnel, yes.
But we didn't
officers.
Right.
apply any
Yes.
additional
Right.
people, period, anywhere. No new schools.
No new schools. What it is, you have people calling out, not showing up. We have a ton of that. I think that's what Jimmy Cassidy had in mind with this, whenever he did this, because we've had several schools this year that have not been covered, and we've had to try to get patrol officers over there that are answering calls. So he's trying to just add a couple of more part-time people in there, if at all possible.
And just our thought on that was.
And then also the 2-hour training.
That's in this number 2. This was the mayor's recommendation, but our thought was if somebody is not showing up and somebody else is coming in, there's not,
You're not paying.
you're not
Yeah,
paying
well-
2 people, you're only paying just 1 person regardless, I mean,
So we'd add a few just to be floaters and go wherever.
but
Yeah.
it wouldn't,
Right.
you're not
And
paying
on
any
a
more.
perfect world, they'd be sitting there twiddling their thumbs
Yeah.
when everybody shows
Yeah.
up.
What she's saying though is the money's the same whether somebody comes in, that's because there's no benefits or anything, and you're not
And-
guaranteed, they don't have sick leave or anything like that.
And he probably has some additional positions he's requested because he'll get traffic situations change at a school as well. And he may need additional personnel for that.
Okay, we've heard the request for 307, 169. What else did you want to discuss, Sheriff Arnold or Mr. Russell?
Well, let's see, you got 312, which is contracts with private agencies.
When
Actually,
you will
it'll
explain
say
that, please?
312. Yeah, no, I'm looking to see.
Tower sites and dry cleaning.
Tower sites and dry cleaning. Pickwood Nation's in with that.
But we've not spent the 27,000 so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah, we can live with that,
Okay.
Okay,
I think. We're not gonna amend it later
All
on.
right.
okay, so.
Now we're back to
disregard-
317.
317,
That's the same we're
That's your-
accepting.
That's 317,
Yeah,
and then-
334. There's a
All right,
difference
go
of
ahead.
18,000. Under our maintenance agreements line item,
Darlene?
334.
334.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Well, on your maintenance agreement, you had $18,000 down there for a copier. And then you also had a copier you were going to purchase on your capital expenditure, so we just took the $18,000 off.
It's the
It's not a
maintenance.
purchase.
It's the maintenance agreement.
You got a
It's-
copier paying $18,000 a year on for maintenance.
No,
No.
that's the entire contract for all of our units as a whole at the department. What we did was we worked with MTR, and I got him to consolidate all of our maintenance contracts on all the different units into one big contract, which has saved us a ton of money because the overages on some of the units were costing us a fortune, and then we were way under on some of the units, and so we've gotten a big umbrella.
So where were those,
Policy,
where
basically.
were those costs for those overages being incurred? Because we've not spent, well, the most we've ever spent is $52,000 in a given year for maintenance.
They were coming out of 336. We moved that cost for the MTR contracts out of 336 for this upcoming year and moved it into 334 with regular maintenance agreements, just to simplify. MTR's been paid as a maintenance agreement all along. We just wanted to simplify it.
So you're basically asking for 18,000 more dollars?
Well,
Did you?
we've had those monies in 336 every year. So what we did this year is we pulled those monies from 336, actually on both sides, and moved it into 334. Moved it out of repair and maintenance of equipment up into 334, into maintenance agreements. Because that's basically what it is. Rather than repairs and maintenance of the equipment, it's now a true maintenance agreement because it's encumbering 95% of our machines, including, we've put machines even in our detention side in all of our towers that now MTR services as well, including toner and parts and equipment and so forth.
But 336 isn't going down.
No, we got more OIT equipment than that.
I mean, it went down from the mayor's recommendation on three is 8,000 less than you requested. Actual is 10 months is 66,000.
We have a lot of, we have,
But they're saying it came out of 336.
Right,
You know,
right.
that's-
Add those two together, and you can see what you've got. I mean, they've spent 96,000 so far, and my recommendation is 127,000.
as far as our equipment alone, we have over 400 workstations and laptops that we service for the sheriff's office. So that requires a lot when it comes to repairs and maintenance of equipment. Because all of our equipment is not brand new and it is not all under service contract. So what we've tried really hard to do is make sure that if something can be put under a maintenance agreement, then that's what we are trying to do, is pull those, for example, with MTR, is pull those monies out and allocate them to 334, and then allow monies for 336 for true repairs and maintenance of equipment. And again, we have over 400 workstations, including desktop PCs and laptops. And that's a lot of equipment that has to be maintained on a daily basis. The majority of it is used 24/7, 365 days a year. And it is not replaced very often, so it's repaired often, and maintained, but not replaced. So it gets expensive.
Well, do you agree with the mayor's statement a minute ago that your amount was, what was the figures?
96,000.
96, and he's giving you a 120 something? Is that a correct statement?
That's between the two line items.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like you got the increase you needed there. So that's what I'm not understanding is I see where you moved the money, but he's actually, if you put them together, you're getting that money and
I
more.
just want to make sure that they're in the appropriate line items. Otherwise, then we would have to request for them to be moved into the year, and I just really don't want to do that. We'd like to go ahead and get them put in the appropriate lines in the beginning of the year so that they're set.
Sheriff Arnold, do you have something else you wanted to, for us to consider?
Let's see.
Oh, she's up here, you want to talk about 708?
Yeah, you can go ahead and jump down there.
Yeah, drop down to that one.
708.
708.
Let's see.
Communication equipment or?
Yeah,
data
communication
processing?
equipment. There's a difference of 25,000 between the,
708?
708.
yeah.
Our initial request was 80. The mayor's recommendation was 55.
Is that yours, Steve?
708 is our communications equipment, which is officer handhelds, as well as some dispatch upgrades within dispatch, within the computer systems of dispatch. If you know, we modernized and we've got new equipment in dispatch, and so we have a couple little upgrades we'd like to do to it. So the mayor's recommendation was 55, ours is 80.
I guess we really didn't quite understand what, since it was just a 2-year-old dispatch system, what we were upgrading. I guess that was just sort of my take on it.
So
What are we upgrading?
the radio itself, whenever putting identifiers in our radios, so whenever you key up, it tells you who it is that's keying up. When dispatch keys up, it lets everybody know that dispatch is keying up.
Is that something you can upgrade within the handset we've already got, or does it require a new handset?
You can do the handset we already have, but we are in the process of upgrading our handsets as well. So we have been doing it slowly, but we're in the process of upgrading all of our handsets. And that's the other part of this line item is we had money in last year's budget for handsets, and we've got it in there again this year for handsets. We have 55,000 in there for handsets, and then we have 25,000 for the upgrade.
Is that because you got somebody sitting there flicking their mic?
Sometimes you have people walking all over each other, but it also will allow us, you have a panic button on your radio that you can punch, and it will notify dispatch who it is that has hit their panic button without having to get on the radio, say anything. Say if you're in a tricky situation and you can't say anything, but you can kind of just punch that button.
Or somebody's injured, not able to talk or something
Yeah.
like that.
You have an officer down and he can't say nothing, at least he can punch that button, and then it'll let everybody know that there's a problem, and we probably need to send officers to that officer as soon as possible.
So you're needing 15,000 more there.
25.
25.
Anything else?
I've got one more that I'd
Okay.
like to request. I don't need you though. Thank you. On line item 349, printing stationery and forms, there's been some changes to what we're doing in conjunction with the clerk's office and, is Bernie in here? Oh, okay. So our printing costs have gone up because there's been some changes. They used to send out a postcard for all the warrants and stuff, and they've changed that to a letter. So postage has gone up, the printing's gone up. It's costing us a few more dollars. And so, I'm just wanting to get some extra dollars. I'm the one that's usually in charge of I get a lot of the POs that come across my desk. I've had several departments come to me and in their department requests this year, everybody's added about $1,000 when I got 22 departments, and that adds up. So that's why our increase was a difference of 21,000. So I'd like a few extra dollars. Doesn't have to be 21, but I'll take something. That was our request.
Last year's amended budget was 12.6.
Yeah. Yeah, but this year's,
And the
12.5.
actual,
yeah.
But you were asking for 33.5, that's
Yeah, I
two
know.
and a half times as much.
It's a significant increase because we've seen what has recently changed for the warrants division has started going up.
And postage is going up.
And, yeah. And I've asked for an increase in postage as well.
We've got roughly 25,000 unserved warrants in criminal process. So we've been trying to mail out and say, hey, you got a warrant, come take care of it.
I feel sure they run right down there too.
Yes. Some of them you'd be
Some of them
surprised.
actually do, yeah.
You'd be surprised, they do.
Sheriff Arnold, Mr. Russell, are those your major concerns that you wanted to talk to?
Also 196, in-service training. My initial request was 191 this year. That was 2,000 over last year's. Here, the mayor's recommendation was 160. That's a cut of roughly 31,000. One thought we had on that was we added 13 new officers last year at the end of the budget. They all had to have in-service training. So here we got more officers, but less money to train them. So we were asking for our initial request on that, which was roughly $2,000 over last year's budget request for in-service training.
Only about 75,000 still not used, is that about where we're at?
You have SROs that are fixing to get out for the summer.
As of today, we've only spent $125,000.
That's what I was saying here.
You have a lot of SROs that are fixing to go for their annual summer training.
Yeah, we always have that money left over at this time of year.
Yeah, we
Did they
always,
get that done before the end of the
they'll
fiscal?
get it done, before the end of the year. That's why Barry's here to talk to you about,
What does that cost?
Where is he at?
Well, we've never spent more than $156,000 in the last 4 years.
Gentlemen, you have heard the mayor's recommendation, and you've also heard the comments from Sheriff Arnold and Mr. Russell. Discussion from the committee.
What's the SRO training thing gonna cost this year?
This year, roughly about $13,000. Next year, we want to try to send the new officers to NASRO, the national conference. And we do our level best not to send anybody to training during the school year, and that's why we always have that balance, and we try to go in June. If we have to go in July, we try to at least save the spots with the prior year's budget.
Now, the NASRO trip will be a lot more expensive.
Well, you've got 75,000 still left, actually 80,000 still left, it looks like.
Well-
And you're using 13,000, so we got,
and
That's
approximately.
that's for this year, but I'm saying for next year,
But approximately
What they got
25 of
budgeted.
that rolls over. We can't.
and then 25 of that is for the dispatch.
25 to 30 rolls over regardless,
Yeah.
because that's for dispatch, came from the 911 board. It rolls over every year. They give us so much money that can only be used for dispatchers, and they'll give us some more, and it keeps rolling up. It keeps building.
so you
So-
got $50,000 to play with after the.
But we can't use it for anything but the dispatch people.
I understand.
Oh, okay.
Did they give y'all another 25 this year?
They should be. I don't think they've given it to us yet, but they should be. I don't recall the amendment,
All right.
but it should be coming.
I'm gonna ask the mayor if he stands by his recommendation, or do you feel any of these more an adjustment?
We'll let you make that decision.
I like keeping the tax rate as low as possible, finding money throughout the year.
And
Personally,
I think we've done that, routinely as necessary.
I did like the panic buttons on the handsets, if there's a possibility of an officer out there in trouble, and he could, but, I mean, that's me, there'll be, there's not as much technology as they can out there in the field by themselves sometime.
$22,465,580. You might find 25,000 in a line item or two to take care of that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a motion for the 22,465,508, Madam Chairman.
Commissioner Sanders.
And that, she's got something to say.
And you need to go ahead and.
Remember, and moving.
There's an adjustment on that 11,000.
The 7 people.
What is that?
And, well, we'll
Recommend
come
the
back
mayor's-
with the number,
the
but
mayor's
just to.
recommendation.
Well, give us a new
change
number
those.
then.
We're not gonna give you the precise number
Yeah,
till we
they gotta
actually
do
run
all
the
the
numbers. But you need to include this in 2 pieces if you so choose. The additional 7 people that are within civil and criminal warrants. That's piece number 1. And piece number 2, do you want to also add the lieutenant to captain conversion and the public information officer? Those are the 2 other positions. It'd be 9 total positions that they choose to, that they want you to add to upgrade on those salary positions.
And that's roughly 17,000 plus benefits.
Plus benefits.
I can do that.
The mayor's recommendation.
Mayor's recommendation with those added, so whatever that would be on top of the 22.
Okay, your motion is to, the
465,
mayor's recommendation,
plus that.
but with the 9 total positions,
That's
upgrade.
adjustment in about $17,000 with
With
plus
the-
benefits.
yes.
Okay, gentlemen, we have a motion. We need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Jordan. Now, any further discussion relative to the motion?
I don't, well, I'll wait till-
I'll say these guys, I'll support you when you come back and need some of this, but we gotta set a tax rate. And we need to keep that numbers as low as possible, and personally, I'm not gonna beat you up if you come back in January and say, hey, remember the postal line item? I'm a little
Yeah.
short, and stuff, but
I'm not either.
He won't. He'll be sitting at home, screaming at TV.
Don't do it.
Overtime.
Yeah.
Any further discussion, gentlemen?
Well, I just want to mention something. Last time we got together, we had, Mr. Mitchell was here, and he said he had 2 openings there, but he wants to use them to switch, but he's cross-trained. But he's not anticipating filling those positions until he gets 150,000 parcels. He says he's got 107,000 right now. Now, to me, I'm gonna vote no on this amendment because after listening to him, I think they could use some, and if we can juggle things around, I think we can make it come out close, and maybe they only have to come back for a little bit in January or whatever. And the other part of that is, we're saying it's best to keep it out of the budget, so we don't have to worry about it, putting that 45,000 or in or something like that for that position. So that's my point.
We're not adding positions, though.
No, I'm saying, not here, but the money that's saved from one place can be used in another in the general fund, is what I'm saying.
They're not adding positions, they're correcting a little bit of housekeeping on.
I'm saying about the 2, we got 2 positions floating that haven't been filled. And they're not
Property
supposed to
assessor's
be
office.
filled in the property
Oh.
assessor's office.
Yeah.
For probably, if what he said with 150,000 parcels, we gotta leave. The only way we're getting more land in this parcels in this county is subdividing the larger ones. I mean, Canada isn't giving us anything, and I'm
Stay
sure
on the-
Williamson
let's
isn't,
stay on
so.
the sheriff. We ain't talking
Well, we're
about
talking
that.
about the general fund, and we're staying on the sheriff's. I'm saying we ought to give them some of this now, and we can keep the rate the same.
Any further discussion relative to this motion?
The only thing I want to throw in there on that is, I don't like them coming to me in the middle of the year and wanting to make a promotion. I'd
Yeah.
rather know about it on the front end. So I appreciate seeing it here. Like I said, I don't like surprises. I know the first year I became a commissioner, I had that thrown at me, the first public safety meeting I went to, and it wasn't pleasant for me, and it was a hard learning curve. So like I said, I've learned that I'd rather see it on the front end here. So I appreciate that. Whether I always agree with them or not, that's another thing. But anyway, I think you're doing them on the right way by going at them on the front end.
Gentlemen, any further discussion on the sheriff's department budget? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
We have 2 noes. P and Shepherd. Gentlemen, if you will turn to page 56. Mayor Burgess, we can get a little bit of a reprieve here. This is the special patrols part of the budget. This is, if I remember correctly, delayed patrol. We're reimbursed by the Corps of Engineers, and we're talking about the mayor's recommendation of $47,850.
Y'all agree with that? Motion to approve?
Thank you,
Let me
Commissioner
change my
Jarrett.
mind.
And seconded by Commissioner Sandlin. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Page 58, the administration of sex offender registry. Mayor's recommendation, $75,124. Mayor Burgess, do you need to speak to that?
No, I don't.
Sheriff Arnold?
I agree with the mayor's recommendation.
Move approved.
Commissioner Jernigan, thank you.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner P.
What am I missing? It's higher than the request.
So,
Yeah.
The request was 57, but recommendation 75. Bookkeeping, to make sure it's all in order.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now if you will go to page 59, we will, we're now ready for the detention part of the budget, which is the jail budget, page 59. Mayor Burgess.
Okay, now, I won't say all of the preamble that I said before, but the same thing applies here basically to these line items that reflect the personnel compensation cost, okay? So, in this particular case, the mayor's recommendation includes normal step increases within the current pay plan. And in addition to that recommendation, there are 7 people, akin to the discussion we've already had with respect to the warrants people, the people that are in transport, who are certified officers. He is wanting to do the same similar thing that we discussed with the sheriff's office with respect to those people in warrants. So that amount of money for that group of people is a bit more, since they are currently in a lower pay grade. So it's about $29,000 that it would take to get them to the position that he wishes to move those people to. So the mayor's recommendation would include the addition of what you see on this paper here, of about an additional $29,000 more, plus the benefits that would go with those increases as well.
So your recommendation plus these 7 positions and the benefits,
Correct.
okay? Sheriff Arnold.
So, and the total recommendation would be the $15,212,567 plus the associated cost that would be reflected in those salaries and benefits for the 7 additional people.
Oh, this. There's one else there, communication. This one, okay, I've got,
Oh, yeah, we will be back again on overtime, just to let you know, that budget comes up every year, amendment, we'll be back for this one, as we always do, because
After September 1's fine.
you won't
with me.
care, right?
we have 2 maintenance agreements. 334. Let me switch over to it. Is that the same thing we talked about? Okay, we're good on that one. And then 709. How are you? Okay, so then we can live with the mayor's recommendation.
I'd like a motion to approve the mayor's recommendation with the 7 employees adjusted as he stated. It was 7, wasn't it?
Yes.
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 Be additional
We have a
29,000
motion.
plus
With related
work
benefits.
benefits.
Gentlemen, we have a motion. I need a
I'll
second.
second.
Thank you, Commissioner Baum. Commissioner Schaefer.
Question on food. It seems we've cut back because the state's cut back on food. But if I remember, you've come back before public safety at least once this year, maybe twice, on asking for more money.
Well, I had for food supplies for the trays, but then I am fixing to make an amendment next month for probably food, yes, because we're running a little short.
So, then is this gonna be enough? If I'm on public safety next year, am I not gonna hear a request coming back for more food? Unless the state gives us a lot more people or something like that.
Well, our numbers are creeping back up.
Yeah, they are creeping back up.
Just in the past,
We have all kinds of contributions today.
say, 45 days, we've gotten probably about 150 more inmates. So our numbers are creeping back up.
So what do you got now?
Right now, this morning, it was 745, I
You can tell
believe.
we've been here almost too
We've been
long.
up to 1,100. We got down to, so fluctuates back and forth.
Plus, all the food costs have been going up here lately. I mean, I think everybody's been hearing that across, you go to a grocery store, about to have a heart attack now, so, you know, all the grocery costs are going up, and we're seeing that at the jail as well. I mean, all of our,
The big increase you see in the jail budget is Dr. Rudd's contract. Went
200,000.
Yeah, went up 200,000. We have no control over it. It's a contract that has already been approved, so that was the big increase.
Well, you talking about Dr. Rudd's contract?
Yeah, we just,
Okay, that's under line item 399. I want us to review that. In other words,
Yeah.
according to the agreement, he is limited to the increase of CPI not to exceed 3.5%, and you've got a 5% increase here.
well, you had, there was a page that had those 3 recommended budgets on there.
The
so-
language,
Okay,
it says it's limited to 3.5. Now, we've not discussed that with him even this current year.
okay.
So we need to have that discussion with
Yeah,
him.
we'll
There
sit down and
may
have
be-
that talk with them then.
And the cumulative amount of that over a 2-year period is, and you don't apply it to the 1,000,004, which is the off-site cost.
Mhm.
You only apply the increase to
To
the
the on-site,
difference in the
what they do
3.8
internally.
and
Right.
minus the 1,000,004. So we've applied 5% to the 1,000,004, which is 70,000. We know is off the table for 2 years. So anyway, Lisa and I did a rough computation, and there may be a couple of $100,000 on the table.
Okay.
You
I'm gonna
all
sit down with
have all
Dr.
that
Rudd
stuff
and
before the tax
We'll
rate is
settle
set.
before we do all that, but we're
We'll sit down with
we're
Dr. Rudd
approving
and go
this
over that.
subject to us making, a review of what the number should really be on line item 399. It should not exceed that number, we agree.
Oh, I agree with that, yeah.
We're assuming a 5% increase, but it shouldn't be more than 3%.
3.5 is according to the language, so there's a little bit of disconnect between a page that's got whole numbers on them, plus a paragraph that says it will not exceed
Right.
the CPI, which would be no more than 3.5% max
Per year.
per year.
Line item 707, building improvements at 250,000, I assume, for your roof, is that right? Now, is that going back with a flat roof, or what is that
going back with what it's got. Oh, well, if we get the grant, It's a, kind of spray foam type roof is what
What's-
they're
what's
looking
it?
at.
Membrane?
CTAS.
It's that
Yeah,
membrane.
membrane. Yeah,
Do it
CTAS
on schools.
has helped us, and they also did it on the Canyon County Jail.
Well, we're having to redo them all the time on the schools. So I was wanting to get away from them, but that's what I was wondering. Have we, is this the first roof we put on that jail? I don't think so, is it?
I don't think it's been replaced.
No, I haven't replaced.
I know we took the gravel off at one time, and then we put the gravel back on. I don't know if we replaced the roof.
You know.
Not since I've been in office.
Okay.
Schools that have been doing those have really had some great success with them. That's those flexible membrane
Yeah.
type deals.
They shrink and
Yeah.
control
Yeah.
the temperature.
Expand
on
and
the
track
crack.
the weather, yeah.
Gentlemen, any further discussion on the detention part of the budget? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, that motion carries. Gentlemen, if you will go back to the very first page of our budget proposal and go to the folder of Fund 121. This is the special purpose DEA fund. This is the one that you hear almost monthly, the asset forfeiture fund.
Where'd you say that was again?
At folder 121. No property tax in this fund.
This one is the one that you can't estimate revenue according to their policy. And I spoke with Mr. Mathis, and just, it's a very temporary number of at least 5,000 they won't spend out of the current budget they can move into next year. And then when they close, they'll be coming back
Yeah,
with anything that gets.
right, to roll all those monies
They'll
forward.
roll
Yeah.
through, and then they'll amend that budget then. We're trying to estimate something that, just in case there'll be some money available for them to spend. And his recommendation was other equipment.
Make a recommendation to approve mayor's recommendation.
Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer.
Yeah, it's kind of a wash.
That's it.
It's a wash.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Commissioner Pease. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. If you will locate folder 122 for the drug fund. Do we need to do the revenues first? Be sure you go to the revenues.
We're estimating revenue at $465,600. That is, included in that number is an estimate of $250,000 for the confiscated properties. That number, the sheriff's department has been able to hit that consistently over several years, and so that is a conservative number. You see their fund balance with the mayor's recommendation of $348,160 will rise $117,440. Estimated ending fund balance at the end of next year will be $833,000.
Do you need a motion on this? Or
When you get to that, I mean.
just on the expenditures?
Now, if you'll locate the expenditures.
That's on the separate sheet of all of it. We've got two lines. One is the drug enforcement, $288,160, and then the transfer out of $60,000, which is demonstrating that this fund is paying for the overtime of those positions that were transferred out of here into the general fund.
And that totals $348,160.
Was not hard for you guys?
Yeah.
Works for us.
That'd be good, yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion motion to take the mayor's recommendation of $348,160 for this fund.
Thank you, Commissioner Fee, seconded by Commissioner Jernigan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Mr. Russell.
Thank you for your time. See you next year.
Is there anything else we need to do tonight? Sheriff, anything else? Mayor Burgess, anything else? Okay, gentlemen, if you will notice at the bottom of your agenda, some reminders about future meetings. We will be back here Wednesday to continue and hopefully finish the general fund as well as some other departments. And then another reminder again, a joint meeting with Health and Ed on May 27th at 4:30. But the main thing is Wednesday back here at 5:30. Anything else that needs to come before our committee? Commissioner Schaefer?
I'd ask Ms. Stevenson if she could come up for a minute. I
Okay.
just want to bring something up and
Oh, yeah,
let the
I had
70
something to go over. You do it later? All right.
Should-
Ms.
You
Stevens?
do? Yeah, you do. There she is, she's still.
Good. I've gone and talked to her a couple times. And one thing I mentioned to her, and I'll let her just sound off on it, but is a flat, instead of the steps this year, postpone the plan for 1 year in general fund. And this is all except for the offices. And you, a flat $500, which does two things. The low-end people go up more, the high-end people are not gonna go up as much. It comes out slightly less expensive than the step increases, but it raises the table for the future. Okay, did I say that right?
You know, basically what he was wanting to do is to every pay grade and every step, add $500, but not give a step increase this year, just give a flat 500 to everybody. And,
So would you just raised everybody's pay $500. Wouldn't that skew your whole table though?
Not that much.
It will definitely mess up the.
My eval system.
The whole it'll mess up the whole entire evaluation system that we've worked hard to get to give people credit for years of service.
I mean, somebody making 22,000 versus somebody making 55
22,500.
or 60, you know, that percentage it's
Yeah.
out of whack
Plus,
pretty fast.
it covers people that have got, that are out of the pay table now, that they're still working, get something. But, I don't see how it skews it.
Well, I mean-
With 500, it's not gonna make a radical difference throughout this.
Well,
It's just like
the
it.
evaluation system is to look at somebody's entire career
Mhm.
and give them credit, and we'll use the sheriff's department, somebody who came into detention, and worked in that area,
Okay.
you know, and now they're sergeant, we give credit for that time that they have been, not day for day, but saying that because they have been with the county, they have learned the policies, procedures, and they are valuable, and we want to account for that time.
Uh-huh.
The only thing I could think, Sonia, is that you would reevaluate
I would have to manually
everybody.
do every table for the year that it's
That
kind of
we've
like the
just
year.
done.
But,
Well, I mean, you'd have to evaluate everybody, subtract 1 year, and say, oh, yeah, for the year
I'd
that we
have to-
did this, subtract a year, and then.
we're not doing it by hand anymore. I'm not
yeah,
doing
we-
it,
They
period.
did every individual.
Yeah.
Every
Every-
individual.
I make a table,
Last year,
an eval
yeah.
sheet on
But
everybody.
she said, she's planning on going out and looking at, different, getting a new pay scale.
Survey, which we do every
This
year.
fall, after the budget is, so that, but what I'm thinking is it's not gonna really skew the way it is between one grade and
It's a
another
different
to speak
percentage
of.
for a $20,000
Yeah.
employee compared to a $40,000 employee. The $20,000 employee is getting a twice as high a percentage increase.
That's right.
Yeah, I understand
This
what
year.
Commissioner Shaver's trying to do. He's trying to help
Get
the
the low
lower
end.
income
Yeah,
employees
we've got
more,
people
but.
that are losing
if
out
we-
every year.
It would change our table, and if we really believe this table is an appropriate table, then we ought to stick with it. We shouldn't get in the habit of not sticking with it. If you
Well-
did wanna do some kind of flat adjustment, I could see doing a one-time $500 bonus, then it doesn't change the table. Of course, they don't
But it
get
would
that
be in
amount of money.
addition, it
They
would
don't
be
get
in
that money
addition to
perpetually. But then you
step increase.
But again, if you believe
kinda like a cost
if you
of living.
believe your table is
If you
the
have
most
faith in your
appropriate
table, you
way.
stick with your table.
I mean, why
If you've
get
got a
away
good
from the
pay
table?
plan,
But the
you stick
table
with it. If
right
not, you
now
scrap it
is,
and change it.
the table right now gives less than, in inflation every year, a
It gives
percent
them
and
a-
3/4.
You know, y'all can definitely
Lift the
raise
table,
Well,
cost of
I
living.
can guarantee you,
Lift the
come June
table.
27th or whatever the date is, that there's not gonna be any 1% added onto it out there, or 2% or anything like that. And I don't think, when was the last time that ever happened,
We
except for
just
the.
went through this reevaluation of every single person, and we readjusted everyone just in this current year.
Well,
This
we're
budget.
just right at the start of that, you
Yeah.
know. But I asked about the step increases last week. But I don't necessarily need the information until we get toward the end and see where, we've still got more budgeting to go and see where we are on the tax rate. If we gotta come up with 2 cents cut or something, then I want all those pieces of the puzzle in front of me, but I think it's premature right now to start
But
talking
if
about.
I hadn't brought it up, you wouldn't,
Well-
on the last day, you're not gonna think about it,
Well,
right?
now, you asked for it, you've got this sheet in your work sheet. And it's to get to the point that you are asking, there is, in all the 100 account numbers of personnel services, it increases from the original budget. The original budget 2014 to the original budget 14-15, it's an increase of $797,000. But if you see over here, I've given you the listing of what makes up that money, and you've got an increase in grants that is in 2 different grants, the health department grant and the firefighters grant, that makes up over $500,000 of that increase. The increase related to full-time wages and longevity is $200,000.
Okay, that answers my question.
That answers your question. Now, there's benefits.
I didn't know if that was
There's
benefits
to
are
it.
on top of that, but
Right.
we know what percentage they run. I didn't know if that was gonna cost us 200,000 or $1 million
$1 million.
too. You know, and that tells me right there, it's less than half a penny, or a third of a penny, you know, if we get down to that point.
So, anyway.
You guys did also ask for last time a copy of the pay tables, and I did bring that for you tonight. The first one that I'll pass around is the sheriff's office. His table is the same, it's the same levels and grades, he just wanted it on his own header and everything, so I did that, so.
and I know I asked for it. The reason I asked for it is I was afraid, you know, we were gonna be looking at that other page, and I wanted it for comparison.
And then this one is the county general table. Sorry, you too. So that way you would have that in the future, and anytime you want to come by and ask questions, I'm always available for you, so.
Are we different, Brian?
But the sheriff's fits right in, it meshes right in.
It's the
He
same
just pulled out
grades
his
and steps and dollar amount, it's just their titles.
job. Some of those same titles are even on.
The other,
because we
yeah,
got the
detention
work center,
officer
so
and
some of his people are the same
sergeant, corporal,
titles
those
that we
type
have
things are the
otherwise.
same.
I had some things in your packet that I thought we were gonna have to talk to, but I don't know.
You can just keep those, that's fine. It's a
Whatever
clean
we put in
copy.
the folder, y'all are gonna keep up with.
If you put it in that folder, then I'll take out what you don't need and keep what you do need.
Gentlemen, anything else that needs to come before our committee this evening? We'll meet back here Wednesday at 5:30. We are adjourned.